Okay, welcome back to YAP with me. It's been 2 weeks. 2 weeks went by so fast. This is my second take, actually. I had more to add on to it, and I feel like my thoughts was kind of incomplete, and I just dig a little bit deeper. So we're just gonna talk about. First, I want to open up with algorithm, personal algorithm on the internet, like the little bubble that surrounds you. And then another thing we're gonna talk about is my thoughts on Substack and how I really don't like Substack aesthetic. It just become an aesthetic of unwanted info, personally for me, right? Okay, let's start out with the algorithm. I remember learning about the bubble. I don't know what's the word for it. I still don't remember what the subject of this class is, but so many articles we read about, really, I still think about it till this day. And then one of it is about the bubble, your bubble of what the internet, the site knows about you and the information it fed to you, thinking that you would like or find relevant. So you versus a friend can look up the same thing, but you might get different response from different answers based on what they think you like, etc. And then you can also get like sponsor posts and ads too. And I remember there's one point where I was really sick of the internet, especially on Instagram. I just get like, I used to like it at one point where if I look up one thing, I just keep getting recommendations for that, right? But it become where it's just that one thing. It doesn't change. It's the same response. If you look up something, the top, like they recommend you the same stuff. If there's nothing that has more likes or more interaction than those things, it's always on top. It's in the same freaking order, right? And then one thing I really don't like about the Reels system is that they would have, okay, if I interact with like one post, they would show me exact thing. Just on and on and on until I like dislike it or like refresh completely, search something else. It's just like an endless cycle. So if you're like sad, depressed, or like something with that thing, you keep getting that. And then before TikTok change, because TikTok did changes, no debate on that. Okay. I used to really like, because I actually learn things from there. I get different informations on my For You page, and okay, I'll be scrolling, I like something, maybe like in the future they'll show me something similar to that, but the next one will be something a little bit different topics. It's not just the same thing over and over again like it is now, and it's heavily censored with to the point where you gotta look up things specifically to get it. And then sometimes I'd be look up something specific and I will get ads or something extremely irrelevant. I have to keep hitting irrelevant to or unrelated to the topic and all that stuff. And one thing I do not like is that I get promoted the same stuff on different platforms. So my TikTok, my Instagrams, even if I don't follow the person, I get the same thing here. I see it again on the other one, and it's just the same stuff. You don't see new people. You see the things that the algorithm thinks you like. And then sometimes I'm just like, do I agree to this thing? And then how scary is that when they keep feeding you, especially when you're younger and stuff like that, things that they think you like. And then there's like a talk this on how, for men's, they were, or like young boys, they were first promoted, workout videos, rich grind, hustle. I don't know, every time I hear those words, it's like typically red flag for me. For some reason, it just relates to like alpha male, like kind of type of energies and stuff. And then eventually down the rabbit holes, like being pushed more for like how to be a man, how how to mistreat a woman, blah blah blah, what's right for a man to do, what's a woman supposed to do, blah 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 blah. And then same thing with cooking video, tradwise video, cooking, all that stuff. Yeah, they able to do all those things, make things from scratch, all that stuff, because they have wealth. They can afford it. Normal living people working all the jobs, like, you don't have time to do all those things and all that stuff. And then it's so scary to see like 18-year-olds like got married already and become a trad wife, or like in the early 20s and all that stuff, just like willingly give up everything, no educational stuff like that, depend on a man. And I feel like, I'm not saying like all that's wrong, because some people do find people that they love and all that, but to promote that, like, you're beneficial, you're making money telling young girls and stuff how to become tradwise, all that stuff. So I feel like it's so scary when things just feeding you things that they think you like, especially when you're much younger too, like, or honestly any age. I feel like if you get enough exposure to it, you might think that way. And how scary, you don't see different points, you see the same points that you agree to, and that just make your brain just more like narrow. And then there's one time where I just feel like I've just been feeding the same stuff, especially with Substack. There's one point where I just want to be like quit social medias for like a while, because I'm just sick of people promoting Substack. Like, cool, promote your things. Like, I try to promote my stuff for different platforms so people watch it, of course, right? But it feels like and then I finally realized why. The topic that they talk about, it's pop culture. Specifically, people in like early 20s to like early like 30s. Things talk about like aesthetic, you know. I feel like Substack is become such an aesthetic. The way it's written, the topics, I'm not on it, but all the articles I've read and seen, it feels the same. It's become an aesthetic because how I define aesthetic is it's something you try to imitate. You want to look that way, you want to present that way, you want people to take you that way. It's how it's perceived. You want people to perceive you as intellectual, knowledgeable, know what to talk about. I'm not saying all substacks like that. This is the popular ones, the one that I've seen promoted and then heard people react to or talked about, right? And then styles, I feel like style is more like it's like within you. Like, if someone's with style, they can make something that's like super cheap, raggedy, like a rag, and still make it stylish because they have a vision. They know a way to make it themselves. Like people who just, barely put any effort. They just put anything on and it looks like fabulous because they can show like their style through everything that they do. Versus an aesthetic, this is my definition, by the way, you can disagree with it. Versus an aesthetic is what you trying to dress up as to look that way. You want to look young, professional, blazer, tidy things, iron stuff, in professional look, etc. And I feel like it has become an aesthetic because everything is just the art of something. I do believe in a lot of things is art, but I feel like you don't have to talk about it multiple times, like in just different fonts, or like it's always ending as like zations of something like, and it's just very similar topics. I feel like a lot of topics I feel talked about like early adulthood, trying to live life, different ways of thinking, making things deeper. And I feel like the good and bad side. There's someone who did a TikTok about how Substack is a necessary evil. Like, you might not like it completely, but I did like that people are writing. They're reading, they're sharing their stuff, their thoughts and things. And then, but I feel like, and then with the second take, I was like, the first take for this, I feel like, why am I so sounds hateful when I don't like hate it? And then it got me thinking, like, what do I dislike about Substack and what does it say about me? I feel like the topic is the same, just in different font. It's how to live life, how to appreciate the little things, dating, all the things that are like with, young adult. And then the economy, and then how to make things better, just different perspective. And I feel like what I dislike about it is it makes me feel like I don't have an original thought. And what's funny is that as I'm thinking that, because I'm hearing people literally thinking what I thought and written it, and then people react to it, or they say it to promote you to like read their Substack, right? And then my brain just like, oh my gosh, I thought of that too. So it's not just me. And then knowing me, I'm that person. It's like if someone likes something, or like something's become more popular mainstream, like I don't really like it unless like it's like my core grounds and stuff like that. But I'm just like, oh, I didn't like that. My thoughts are like being like worded out, and I'm like, oh, it's not just me. So I guess it's a not just an original like thoughts or feeling. And there's an article, as I'm thinking about that, the next video was like, oh, how to have an original thoughts. I'm like, oh my gosh, seriously. And I was like, how, me personally, what I don't like about it, it's like you're reading people's word. While people can react to it, have their spin on it, but you're reading someone's word and you cannot have a conversation. I feel like what is written in there, it's more a blog, but they promote it as essays. When I'm thinking of essays, I'm thinking of citing your source, all those things. And this feels like just a personal vlog. I wanted to start a blog, so I started a few times, and I feel like I have no topic to write about. I had like nothing like cohesive, so I just like quit it. I tried that multiple times actually, and I feel like it's a good thing that it become popular. Like people are writing, people are sharing their thoughts and things and stuff, but I feel like it's not as polished of the writing for the most part. For me, I feel like if I'm gonna read a vlog about happiness, I want like an everyday people's perspective, and also perspective on like doctors and things and stuff. I don't know, that's just how my brain works on like professionals. But if Substack's working for you, that's great. And I feel like reading a personal vlog doesn't make sense to me. Like I would rather hear you talk in a converse, like in videos and stuff. That's just how my brain works better. I feel like more of connections, and what I'm seeking is connections. I feel like what makes it more meaningful if I read something and I tell somebody about it and have a discussions, instead of me just read about it and just agree or disagree. And then another thing is that back to the algorithm, I feel like sometimes I'm like, these things are being sent or like pushed to me. Do I believe this? Sometimes not 100%, like maybe 7% agree, but the 30% I don't. And I feel like I'm forcing myself to agree to it because I'm more agreeing than disagreeing. But then I have to remind myself there's also the gray area. I think there's always something in the middle in some sort of way, because depending on what perspective you're looking at, right? That's why ethics is so hard for me, because ethics is not just right and wrong, it's more than that. And then that was just like, I cannot connect through reading someone's feelings because it's so short. It's just like a little seek into their life, and then I felt like I had no control over life. It's just like everything I like is the same as other people. There's nothing special about me, that stuff. But I'm just like, that's not true. I feel like I have these things, people have similar thoughts and they write about it. That's something we all have in common, but there's also something that we have different. And I'm just like, these topics are something I could probably think of and then talk to people about in person. So it's not too much about the topic. I think it's the fact that it's being pushed towards me in many fonts over and over again. It's exhausting and I just want to break it, have something different. So I don't think it's a Substack fault. But then I feel like some of the stuff is already been talked about. And it feel like it's nothing new added onto it. And it's just because it's popular, keep getting rewritten in this different sort of way. And in my brain, I feel like that's just an endless cycle. I want something, I think I already said, something new, something different and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think my problem is with Substack. My problem is Substack become popular and it's everywhere and I can't avoid it. And it's on every single platforms. But I'm happy if you're enjoying that. So I'm trying to search for different things, take the break from social medias and stuff, and then just get some fresh air because some show I love and I'm just keep rewatching. I'm just like, I'm tired of watching the same thing. Even though it's good, I want a break. I want something different, and then I feel like I'm trying to limit myself. It's more a reflection of me, limit myself on my devices. I put like 30 minutes like on my Instagram so far, and then 20 minutes on TikTok. They do remind me, but I ignore it every single time because sometimes it just be playing and I'm not even touching, or I'm cooking something and then the thing's there. But Instagram, I notice I do pause whenever I see the 30 minutes and I don't check it as constantly because I feel like essentially I'm not missing out much. If someone's important, if it is important, the person will reach out. If the person I know, like in person, like if it's relevant and stuff, they will let me know. I don't have to find through social. I don't have to find through all those connections. And yeah, I hope this was actually pretty short. I think this is probably the shortest one that we made so far. But if you like it, like, subscribe, and please share. My videos just normally don't get a lot of view, but if you like it, let me know. Comment something. Comment your thoughts on Substack and thoughts on pop culture. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Can't wait for the next YAP With Me sessions. Bye.